Have you ever felt bad about playing too many video games? I know I was addicted as fuck when I was in high school. Well, if you feel guilty about that, don't, because it seems like it might actually be useful. What I just learned was that there's this company called Gamelearn that closed $5 million in funding to make video games for companies. So I've been at my fair share of companies because I've interned a lot while I was in college. I knew that I had to relearn, and it was so fucking annoying. Like, I would go through like hours and hours and maybe even a whole week learning about like things that are very unethical, all of these things that make for like a normal fucking person, basically. It was really boring, and I know plenty of other interns that were daydreaming or watching YouTube videos, and so they even took longer than they should have. So because of this sounds really fucking useful. This company wants to make it so that anything a company teaches you can be done through a fucking game, which is like not a novel concept. It's actually related to this thing called gamification, which has been very, very big recently. And I've actually watched a few TED Talks on gamification that I'm going to actually share with you guys in the description. One thing I was thinking about, though, is I can't imagine certain people not seeing this as a fucking joke. There will definitely be some dude out there that treats this like Grand Theft Auto. They'll just log on to this little corporate training thing, and I don't know if it's going to be an AR, VR thing, or if it's just going to be video based, right? Like, or just like a 2D screen where you can see the game, walk through it. You know, it might be a game where like with little puzzles or something. But if it is a VR, AR game, or if it is like a role playing game, I can't imagine some dude not being a fucking dumbass about this and not treating this like Grand Theft Auto. Some dude that's perfectly normal, perfectly sane, like drives to work every day, gets along with everybody, all of a sudden plays Grand Theft Auto and runs over a ton of people and parachutes down onto skyscrapers and jumps off them and like shoots bazookas at buildings and shit. You know? But then again, I want to get on with my job. Nobody wants to get fired for like not getting anything done their first week. So I can't imagine that being too big of an issue. But somebody will get fired for this. It's a world of 7 billion people. The thing that amazes me is that this company already has 2,000 clients. I'm very curious to find out actually what kind of clients these are, because I'm wondering, so is this actually only teaching sort of basics about the company, like you know, how does payroll work every month, and like, you know, what do you do if somebody bursts into the building with a weapon, or, you know, what if somebody says something that offends you or some shit like that? Or is it actually like something along the lines of, watch this 30-minute course on how to negotiate with a tough client, something way more intricate? My guess is that it relates mainly to the more basic things, just because I can't imagine them like putting all this effort into very complex scenarios just for one client when they have so many others. Because making a video game is really, really tough. Companies devote months and maybe sometimes even over a year to making just one video game. So to imagine one company making thousands of video games for these thousands of companies is just like, it's stressful to even think about. As somebody who codes, that sounds terrifying. So my best guess is that they actually reuse a lot of shit. Like, they will create some solutions for some companies, and then like for a tech company, they might make tools or scenarios, and then another client that's the same kind of company, they'll reuse some of those scenarios. So they don't have to redo everything. But that's just my guess. Who knows how they do this? Video games are tough to make, people. If you ever want to get involved in making video games, I would suggest looking at some Unity tutorials and studying computer science and learning a lot about graphics. That shit is tough. I never took that class, but if I had more time, I would have gone to it. So they say that only 30% of e-learning courses are completed, which is funny because they always told me I gotta complete all of them before I start working. So, like, what the fuck? Like, 30% are completed? Like, they told me that I have to do all of them. Like, I can't imagine a boss saying, or a manager saying, yeah, here are the training videos. They're very, very important for you to begin your work, but you don't actually have to complete them because I'm not actually going to be watching you. And even then, only a 93% completion rate. Like, if I don't finish these videos or courses or whatever, I just keep getting nagged about it. So I'm still surprised that it's only a 93% rate. I actually think that this is a very good thing because having learned about gamification, having learned how stubborn we are as people, like knowing how people work, it takes a lot to get us to do shit. Like there's entire fields of study dedicated to how to make us do shit. You know, marketing, advertising, all of this shit is just how to get us to do things. So think about this. You actually, when you're playing video games, do a lot of work. This is why I hate the word hard work, because hard work isn't really hard work. When you play a video game, when you've spent hours on it and you've had fun, you've actually done hard work. Your mind has actually put in a lot of cognitive effort that maybe even exceeds some of the homework that you've done. Yet you enjoyed it. Why? Because it was gamified. It had principles in it that tapped into your reptile brain and allowed you to feel some of those same emotions that you got when you were hunting or finding berries or whatever back in the Paleolithic era. So I really think that this is really important in education. I think that yes, we do have some superstar kids, but I think there's no reason why we can't get most kids, if not all, to learn what we intend them to learn. And I think gamification can really help us with that. And it can help us with way more things. So comment down any ideas you have for what can be gamified. Share any companies you've heard about, and I might talk about one of them. Share any companies that you know that are using gamification, maybe as part of a product, or maybe it's something like this where it's their whole product, gamifying something. So comment down if you know of any companies that are doing this. Comment if you have any ideas, or comment on any particular strategies or anything you might have heard about gamification. And subscribe. The big reason why I make this channel is because I'm really, really, really passionate about the future. And I'm really passionate about all the technologies that are coming about right now, and who's building them, and who else is building them, and who's going head to head. But in addition to that, I also want to make sure that as many people as possible get involved. I want to make sure that you get involved, that you go out and discover something, or build your own company, or discover some new technology. So subscribe down below. Because that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about what you can do in order to launch your own startup, learn more about technology, and I'm going to be sharing about the key players today, the founders, the companies, the VCs, the technology. So hit the subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with all these things. See you next time.